It's episode 51 of the Improv London podcast with this week's guest, Julia FusselBerger.
You pronounced it right! You're the best.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Last night, what were you doing last night? I mean, that sounds wrong. Specifically, there was
We were doing improvisation.
Yeah, that was the bit I was thinking about. You can tell me about the other bit, but I might do that off mic.
Okay. No. I did a showcase of improvised musical done by the Showstoppers course. And for me, it was the first time to sing in front of an audience. I'm incredibly proud of myself, to be honest. Because it's one of my biggest fears. I don't mind people looking at me during theater, improvisation, whatever. But during singing is like, oh, no. No. But it went really well. And yeah, had lots of support.
So what inspired you to try improvised singing then?
Because for me, it's like, I'm currently not working. And for me, it's my year off, and I want to use that to do and tackle all my issues that I have.
Really? Wow.
And singing is an issue in my case, because I'm just really not a singer. But I want to overcome that fear, and I think I did to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And it felt really, I felt really good after doing it, and so I always encourage people to do stuff they feel uncomfortable doing, because most of the time the fear is bigger than the actual thing.
Yes.
So
I find that a big thing in my life, in that when you're actually doing something, you're so caught up in the moment and actually doing it, you don't have time to think about how terrible the thing is. Whereas before you do it, all you're doing is thinking about, how terrible that's going to be. So usually I find the doing of the thing is much better than the thinking about the thing.
Yeah, I totally get you on that one. It's like also in improvisation, when you stand on the sidelines and you're waiting to jump in, and like a lot of people have gone before you. Yes. It gets harder and harder because suddenly you're like pressuring yourself. So, yeah, dive into it.
That's exactly what I do, and especially with jams and things like that. Yes. I'm like, actually, I like to be the first one on, because then even if I don't do anything else for the rest of the jam, I think, well, at least I was in once. And also, then it gives people the opportunity to bring you back later on. Whereas if you've been stood at the sidelines for longer and longer, it gets harder and harder.
I think so too. Even if it's just like supporting noises or like a person walking behind the scene to complete the picture.
Yeah.
It's still like that one initiating thing that you do somewhere near the beginning just helps you so much.
Yes, definitely. And, the first step is the hardest, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. Yes. So let's talk about this year of... Is it a year of improvisation? Or is it just a year of self-discovery? Or I'm intrigued by this year off. It sounds a great idea.
Yes, I had the idea before I started improvising. It was like 3 years ago. I was like, okay, I worked now for a year, and I've never been outside of my country. I'm coming from Austria, and I've never experienced the world.
Right.
Because I come from a not so wealthy family. We never had the opportunities, really. So I saved money for 3 years straight, and hard-working bee to take my year off now, and it strangely has become a year about improvisation. I didn't intend to do it, but actually, I do admit it was one of the reasons why I came to London. Because in London you just have so much improvisation going on in so many different directions. so many colorful people that are like really lovely to work with. And yeah, I mean, I've only been here for 4 months, and I already felt like I've been here for years and know people for a long period of time. Improv connects.
Yes,
that's the
definitely.
message.
Yeah, definitely. So, what had you heard about the London scene before you came here, or I don't know?
Not much. It was like London always was one of my 2 top cities to go for a longer time, and then I Googled like London and improv, and there was like so much, and it was like, okay, yes, I'm doing that. Definitely doing that.
So you had an interest in improv before you came to London?
Yes, I've done improvisation back in Austria.
All right. What was that like?
Yeah, it took me quite a long time to get there because I'm originally educated in dramatic theatre.
Right.
And did that from 16 to nearly 20. But the environment was like really poisonous for me. Like a lot of people criticizing you as a person and not what you do.
Yeah.
And at that early age, I just wasn't prepared for that. So I kind of dropped out of that. I became a teacher. So for the past years, I've worked as a primary school teacher. And over those years, I've done a lot of theater with children.
Right.
So every summer I do a showcase with children where they improvise little scenes, and out of that scenes we
do
build...
a Herald?
No, we don't do a Herald. We actually build a piece where they have scripted text, but out of everything they improvise.
Right.
And we only have 5 days to do that.
Wow.
So. But they are amazing. Like, children just dive into it. They revel into it. Finally, there's a part in their life where they're not measured by how good they are, but just by I'm here, and that's good enough.
Yeah.
And that's so wonderful. So I've done that over the years, and then like about a year and a half ago, a friend of mine, Shira Singer, she taught improvisation. And I myself didn't want to get back into being on a stage, into that environment that like really scarred me for life.
Oh dear.
But she kind of managed to like push me to do one of her classes. And I did that, and at first I wasn't sure, and then I was at two sessions of her, and then a third session with a group called Quintessence in Austria. They are amazing. And that third session for me was the point where I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing now. 100%.
Yeah.
It's like I hardly ever feel so comfortable, so alive, and so like energetic as when I do improv.
Brilliant. So can you remember what you did in those first 3 weeks or in that third week?
I really don't.
You just knew it was...
It was I vaguely remembered going there to the first session and being like, I'm doing that to prove that that's not for me.
Right, yes.
And then all the people there were so supporting and like non-judgmental of who you are as a person. And that's the general theme that runs through the improv scene I've discovered, is like this valuation. Do you say valuation? Yes.
Yes.
Of people for their inner selves, for all they bring to the stage, for all they bring to improv
Right.
and the theater, and without like having measurements of that's good and that's bad.
Right.
You have rules in improv, of course, but to break them, and that's the amazing thing. And I do remember one thing where, like, with the group Quintessence, where I met the first, how do you say it? The first, for me, really inspiring teacher. Like, her name is Gerrit. She's amazing. And when I did the first session with her, she had this lightness about her, and we did exercises, and I felt like in a state of flow. And at the same time, like in between those really energetic pushes. And that's how I got into improvising.
That sounds brilliant. So then you came. What's your other favourite city, by the way?
My other favourite city. I wanted to go to Dublin.
Oh right, okay, fair enough.
It's not that far away, but still.
I was just curious to know what the other city was. Okay, so then you came to London. What was your first experience of the improv scene here?
Of the improv scene?
Or of London in general? I don't mind.
Of London in general, I still remember like the day I had 2 suitcases. And I walked out of the airport with my 2 suitcases, standing there alone in the dark because I arrived in the evening. And I was like, yep, that's it. I'm good here. And I was like really excited. And I met so many lovely people over the time that my excitement was like, how do you say it? Help me out.
Prolonged? Continued?
Yes. More or less. And then my first improv experience here in London was the Keith Johnston course in September.
Wow.
Where I met loads of lovely improvisers from all over the world.
Yes.
They all came to London for that one course. And then a week later, I started a Hoopla course.
Brilliant.
Where I met the next people, which also was like really lovely. And over the course of September, I realized, oh my God, I've landed in a city where you can do improvisation every day.
Yes.
That was like...
Isn't that amazing?
That was like Christmas in September.
I never ever want to take that for granted, the fact that every day you could be doing something.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, we have improv in Vienna, and we have, I would say, for a city that's not as big as London, we have quite a lot, but not nearly the amount of improv you have here in London. You are lucky people.
So how did you hear about the Keith Johnston course?
I Googled.
Nice, brilliant, the internet. You should try it. If you haven't tried the internet at home, do try it. It's very good.
I totally recommend it. No, I decided to go to London before I signed up for the course, and then I was like, that's a name I should type in once in a while. And then I was like, oh, he's in London. At the same time, I'm in London.
Brilliant.
Which is wonderful.
So what was it like training with him?
At first, I do admit, and I feel so bad for saying that, at first I was a little disappointed because I'm a very energetic doing person. And he just brought a lot of knowledge to the course, like a lot of background. And I had to get over my own expectations because it was more or less my own fault for having those expectations. And when you get over the point where you're like, oh, it's not the thing I wanted, it becomes like, oh, but it's a new thing. And new things are exciting. And so I think I've taken quite a lot, not only for improv but also for life, out of that course. And
such as? Give me details.
I
wasn't on the course and I'm jealous.
There was like that one thing that I clearly remembered because I always felt a little constricted by suggestions from the audience. And he said, suggestions are merely there to connect your brain to a certain area that you combine it with. So, for example, if you get a suggestion like apple, it doesn't have to be about an apple. It's about the emotional response and the emotional pictures that apple brings up in you.
Right.
For example, a childhood memory or whatever. It's just like a Kickstarter. And if you use it like that, a suggestion can become really helpful. Yeah. Because you surprise yourself even more.
Yes.
But, he said so much. Oh my God. and it was also like the group there was really lovely because we had people from France, from Holland, from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And the combination of the people was so nice, and it was such a relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
So that we didn't only dive into improvisation, but into general life, how you can use improv for your general life. Yeah. That you don't always have to worry about the outcome, but that the journey is the important thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's not only for improv, but also for life.
Yeah.
It's not the thing that comes out in the end. It doesn't matter if you succeed or if you fail. The thing is, you should try, and you should really try.
Yes.
Ferociously try. to achieve whatever you want with that scene or with your life.
Yeah. Good advice.
Good advice.
And then you moved on and you did the hoopla course.
Yes, I did the hoopla course with Edgar.
Oh, yeah, I love Edgar.
Yeah.
I've got to get Edgar on the podcast. I've got Edgar on the podcast. He taught...
Edgar, if you hear this, you have to go to the podcast and record something.
Well, because when I started, I didn't start with Q Johnson. I started with Edgar Fernando, and it was also a strong beginning as well. But I didn't really have any expectations, so I was disappointed. But no, Edgar's brilliant. I really love Edgar's.
Yes. No, it was really lovely. And I started to do, because at Keith's course we did a lot of stuff that is with status, or where you don't have to be very verbal.
Right, yes.
So that was the first time I realized, God damn it, English is not my mother tongue. But it's fine, because you learn other things, Yes. It's like, I've been in a course, and I've learned to constantly in my mind look at people's face for clues if I don't understand a word, so that I still understand what is the emotional content of the scene.
Yeah.
So even if I sometimes get a word like abattoir, or I was like, what the hell?
Because that seems to come quite a lot, especially in audience suggestions. And
yes,
did
I've
last night as one of the suggestions was abattoir, but neatly steered away from that. That's really interesting. The kind of, so you're reading people's expressions to try and well,
it's like, what is he thinking? What is he doing? Where is this going? Look at his eyes and his mouth, and now he's turning, and now he's doing that with his body. So I don't know. It's like the physicality for me as a non-native in English is, it's so important for me to look at all that stuff, because otherwise just one word could throw me into a void of, I don't know what this is about.
Well, I think that's really interesting because ultimately the scene isn't about an abattoir. It's about the relationship between the people, and the surface details aren't that important. It's actually what's going on between the people. So you're obviously paying attention to the right thing.
Yes, and I'm glad that it came that way, because for me, I think I got much faster to the point where I realized that it's a relationship and not the witty jokes, or that it's staged in exactly that environment, in that form. And I think maybe without coming to London and experiencing improv in a second language, it might have taken longer for me to get to that point.
Right, yes.
But now it's as soon as you have the relationship, you can go to so many points in the story, because you suddenly have all those opportunities. And when you don't have that, it feels kind of shallow to a certain point, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And people are interested in the relationship between the characters. They're not interested in whether there's a famous example about people aren't interested whether the bike got fixed. No one goes home going, "Wow, in that improv scene, it was brilliant. I was really glad they fixed that bike." No one ever does that. I can't remember whose example that is, but they're they'll remember that mother-daughter relationship or whatever. So
yeah. And also, like, it's more than that for me. It's like mother-daughter isn't exactly a relationship. It's like rebellious teenager and strict mom for me is more of a relationship than mother and daughter.
Right, yes.
Because you have to have a certain attitude towards somebody.
Yes.
And the attitude defines your relationship. And if you have an attitude and you define like the ground of your relationship, then you can suddenly start to like break the patterns and go into new directions.
Yes.
And that's the fun part to do. It's like first set the relationship and then go to places with it.
Yeah. So you're establishing what's normal, and then you're able to. Well, you need to establish what's normal before you can then break it into other things. Yeah.
That's the wonderful thing. Like you can go to so many places.
What's your favourite place to go to?
My favourite place to go to. I'm really into mafia scenes.
Mafia sayings?
Yes.
Well, as in the mafia, as in things the mafia say?
Yeah, like scenes that involve the mafia. Yes, sayings.
I thought you said sayings.
Yeah.
I thought you had lots of things the mafia
I
might
also
say.
like mafia sayings, like we're going to drown that person. No.
Yeah.
No, it's more like
mafia scenes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they have that weird dynamic of like having a very clear order, like a very clear picking order, and you can't just do so much stuff with it, and you can drag it into really serious places or into really nutty places. So I'm really into that. I'm really into Western. Actually, all the things that involve action.
Right. Okay. Action.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Like, I really like when a scene is going to a point where you not only talk about a thing, but where you actually do something.
Right. Yes.
That's for me the main thing I'm always trying to go forward to.
Yes.
Because talking about a thing is nice, and I really like it. It's like sometimes I'm sitting in the audience here in London, and I'm like, wow, that's one damn witty comment. I wish I could say something like that.
Yeah, I do that.
On the other hand, for me, myself, what I enjoy most is like doing physical stuff and like stretching the boundaries of physical improv,
right?
Where you do something that would, out of context, look like a person doing something really stupid.
Right. Yes.
And if you put it in context, it's phenomenal, and you're like, oh my god, that person is flying.
Right, but because it makes sense within the scene.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So if you would take like all the verbal stuff away, and you will like, have only a snippet of a person doing like, I don't know, like walking downstairs on a stage, like miming walking downstairs, it would be like, okay, that's weird. But if you do it on stage, in context, it looks so amazing.
Well, you're thinking of the thing where so you're walking along stage and you're pretending to go downstairs.
Yes.
Where you sort of bend your knees more and more.
Yes.
The thing is that there was one night when I'd been out drinking and I'd gone back to a friend's house, and they started doing this, the thing behind the sofa, pretending there was a cellar and going down into the cellar. And I got the hiccups so badly I had to go home.
Oh no!
And then there was another time when I told that story, and then I started laughing so much again, I got the hiccups again and had to go home a second time. So I hope you appreciate the danger I have. Just telling you, just remembering that thing.
But that's the wonderful thing about it. Like, improv has this unique quality of bringing up so many emotions because it's very connective to the audience.
Yes.
It's like, I hardly know any other form that is so dependent on that coexistence between audience and stage. Because I've seen improv recorded, and it is okay.
Yes.
But it doesn't have the same quality, and I think that's the big thing about improv and why it's so coming in and up, because you can clearly not record it and achieve the same quality you have when you're sitting in the audience and experiencing the thing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I totally agree with the watching, or I even find listening to improvised stuff unsatisfying. It is being in the audience that it brings the magic. But yeah, maybe the fact that it is one of those things that it is hard to capture maybe encourages people to go out and see it, because they can't get it when they're at home. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's, I mean, like, out of like brain science, it also makes sense.
Right.
Because you're conveying so many truthful feelings in a good improv show.
Yes.
That the spark somehow like goes over to the audience.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it doesn't depend if the scene is like super funny. It's more about, is that scene something those people really care about and commit to?
Yes.
And then you're sucked into that world. You don't see the stage as like a blank black little stage anymore, but you see all the surroundings.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how quick your brain adapts to that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. So you mentioned your interest in the mafia. So is this an interest you have outside of improvisation? Or is it one?
Of course.
I wondered. So this is, it's kind of, if you were interested in the mafia, for example, and then you brought that experience into improv, that would make sense to me. But so are there things you're interested in, but only through improv?
Actually, and now I admit something that most people will go like, oh my god, I've never ever seen The Godfather, and I cannot remember ever watching a purely mafia movie.
Right.
It's just like that image in my head I have of a mafia. It's like really big. And I mean, other things I really like to do are Western.
Yes.
And I haven't seen loads of Western. I just really like it. It's like...
I'm worried about the authenticity of your improvisation. I'm worried that
I'm
maybe
totally
inauthentic.
Yeah. I actually once brought to a Western staged thing a pump shotgun. So yeah, your worry is definitely they have solid ground.
But then in improvisation, we're not seeking a historically accurate reenactment of what happened in the West. And if you think about it as, I don't know, it's like there's another layer of, sometimes when you're improvising, I think about it as, we're not seeking to do the historical event, we're seeking to do maybe a film that represents the historical event or something like that. And so there's an extra level in there where, maybe one of the characters has a shotgun, because that's what the filmmakers thought would be cool, and they're not worried about. I mean, no one goes.
Yeah, and it's more about the feeling, and for me, it's also another thing I've discovered through improv, that like everything you ever do in your normal life is really relevant.
This is brilliant. I'm so pleased about this.
Yes, it's like the most stupid, mundane thing you can think about you did in your life. Sooner or later, it might come in handy in improv.
Well, I spent a lot of time when I was younger trying to get like a band together and trying to write songs, and it never really felt that I ever achieved anything. And then I discovered musical improv. It's like, oh, well, hang on a second, I was just practicing for that. That's brilliant.
Yes.
It's like all that time that had been wasted was actually in preparation for this. It's like, brilliant.
Now I can use all my stupid knowledge.
Yeah. What stupid things do you know about that you like to bring into your improv?
Oh my god. You're asking the hard questions here.
That's very much my style. It's the hard questions.
It's like, I don't know, sometimes I remember stuff like, okay, that's now really like filthy, but but I remember stuff like once reading in a medicine magazine that you have better orgasms when you have your socks on because the blood circulation is better in your body, and stuff like that.
Are you sure you're not British? Because that sounds like a uniquely British way to achieve orgasm with one sock on. I can't believe you're from mainland Europe with your funny ideas.
No, it's more about like the stuff like having that knowledge.
I mean, ideally fully clothed would be perfect.
That's like really weird, but you still can incorporate it. Or also when you watch certain movies and you see a thing done in that movie and you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty nice. It's like, yeah, I've once seen. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was a silent movie about a bank robbery.
Right.
And I saw that movie, and it's one of the things I really like to do. I could do 100 improvised bank robberies that are completely different from one another.
Really? Because that sounds like an Edinburgh show right away. That sounds amazing. Bank robberies.
Yes.
And yet you have no real interest in bank robberies in real life, I'm just wondering.
No, not really.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, so you were watching this silent film about a bank robbery, and you took stuff away that you could then use in your improv? Or?
It was more like the idea of, wow, there are so many things in a bank you can, like, make scenes out of, and so many relationships. And, yeah, it's one of those things where you then go into your real life and start looking at your everyday life also differently.
Yes.
Which is a wonderful thing, because when I go to the supermarket now, I'm one of those creepy people watching other people do their stuff.
I have thought about, because I teach web design to adults, and I have thought about playing it in character. Just doing a character for 6 weeks and see if I could maintain the character over the 6 weeks, but it's hard enough teaching people web design without then thinking, how would my character express this? What would she do? You know, it's like...
I can imagine that. If you're a good teacher, it takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
And it's for me, improv also helped me in my teaching career. Even if I don't do a character, which as a primary school teacher, I have the big benefit of also doing. It's still like the way you see learning also changed. I've always been really interested in education from a very young age onward. And education for me is a thing that's not only there to stuff knowledge into your head, but real education is connecting different things together to help you succeed, being happy with your life and having a joyful life.
Wow.
And improv brought another aspect of all that into the things I already knew about education. And it's also education also helps me in improv.
Yeah.
Because you suddenly see when people are really stressed, they cannot learn. It's a fact. It's like Ken Robinson, wonderful man. He talks about it a lot. Under stress, you just cannot learn.
Yes.
Because your brain is occupied with being angsty and being like totally freaked out by whatever you have to do. And you cannot concentrate on the actual thing you should do.
Yes.
So that's the same for on stage as off stage.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that really good improv teachers always provide an environment that is really safe, where you really can make those mistakes that everybody in improv is like, make mistakes. But if you don't have the environment where you can mistakes without fear, then it's useless to tell a person what to do. You have to have the feeling behind it.
Yes.
And that's something I've discovered here in London a lot. You have a lot of wonderful teachers who consciously or subconsciously know that fact that if people are angsty and if people are like crampy and oh my god, then they cannot do improvising at their full potential because they're always worrying. And then there will come the time when you transfer that onto the stage. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean like being like hyper and energetic and feeling like really pushed before going on stage, because if that little spark isn't there, I probably think it wouldn't be as much fun as it is.
Yeah.
It's like you always.
But there's a difference between having that nerves and those excitements and being terrified that you're going to have to either fight or, run away, that sort of thing.
And it sometimes is still really hard for me, mostly, I admit, when people are watching whose opinion really matter to me.
Right, yes.
And usually I don't care how ugly I am on stage or how stupid I am. I revel in that stuff. But I feel myself like having really to breathe through at the beginning of a show when I know there are people I really value their opinion. I kind of, they have a certain kind of picture, mostly friends. They have a certain kind of picture of me, and you kind of want to hold on to that to a certain degree, but then there comes the point where you have to decide and just like be yourself and hope that you're still loved.
Yes.
Which sounds so stupid and like so complex, but for me, especially as a woman, I feel that pressure a lot of being like the nice girl with the blonde hair. But actually, in improv, you discover you're so much more, and it's okay to be all those things, and I wouldn't go back. Definitely. Never. Ever. Yeah. The discovery is about oneself.
So you're thinking that if you aren't nice on stage, then people won't like you? Is that the?
No, that's not really the issue. It's more that in improv, you sometimes would do stuff that you would never do in real life.
That is true.
And I don't know, at the beginning, mostly at the beginning, I really sometimes had the fear that people thought those were my views in real life sometimes.
Yes.
And to translate my characters into real life, but it's not stand-up comedy, it's improvisational theater.
Yes.
And for me, as a person coming from drama, for me, the thing is, characters really matter to me. And like having really strong character choices is one of the most fun for me personally.
Yes.
So going from that image you have in real life to the improv stage, and then also on the improv stage, I sometimes still have, I admit it, I sometimes still have a hard time between the balance of me and the group.
Right.
Because on one hand, I'm 100% for supporting all the players. But I've discovered that if you really want to do it for a longer time, you also have to value yourself. And you have to like yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to take sometimes a space for yourself.
Yes.
And not always be on the line and be like, okay, what does that other person need? Like, in a constant thing. And when you work together with really people you connect with on a personal level, it becomes so much easier. Like, the best improv I've ever done is with people I really like.
Yes.
Because the boundaries aren't there. There's never like the question of, does the person value me? And also there isn't the question of, can I do that and not totally freak out my other player?
Yes.
And that's a wonderful thing.
Yes, no, it is great when you do know people and you do trust them, and you know what's gonna, they're gonna find acceptable and what, would be unacceptable.
Yeah.
And, That's why I enjoy working with a group rather than, say, a jam, because with a
Yes.
jam, I'm like, there's so much to try and take in, and quite often you're working with people that you've not met before, and it's like, you don't know what they've done before, I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I've done with so many different people here in London improvisation, and I improvise to a certain degree quite differently in a jam than I would with a group. Like I have back in Austria, I have an improv group with lovely and adorable people. No, really, they are the best. And there I can make choices I probably wouldn't sometimes dare to make in a jam, especially if I know that person hasn't done improvising for a long time, or I don't know the history of improvising. And then you get to the stuff where you get really into the unknown, and where you suddenly do things that are so out of comfort zone, so out of what you usually would do, because then the other person also brings in that choice that you may or may not anticipate. And out of those choices, those characters build up and build up and build up.
Yeah.
And you can ending and still go into like really weird directions that make so much sense on some level.
Yeah.
And that's the real joy of then improvising with people you improvise for a long time.
Yes. So when you're approaching a jam, do you say you approach a jam differently? How do you? Because I find jams terrifying. I find them mildly less terrifying than I did when I first started them. But there was a long period where I was like, I'm not really enjoying this. And then each time I did it, I still wouldn't be enjoying it, but it'd be slightly less not enjoying it. And eventually I could probably get to the stage where I think, oh, this is all right.
Let's say the big difference for me is with my group, I look at the person and I'm like, okay, we're in a comfortable situation. Now I'm going to do something that's really messing up what you're doing. In a jam situation, I usually would look at the person, and even if I don't know the person, try to anticipate what is a thing that person would enjoy doing.
Oh, that's a lovely way to think about it, isn't it?
And like I see that a lot of people just want in improv the higher status to a certain degree to feel comfortable. And if I have the feeling then in a jam that thing of comfort, doesn't depend if it's high or low status, is reached, then you can do status switches, you can like mess a little, but I would never bring a person I don't know well, I don't know the history of, into a position that's really uncomfortable for them.
Right, yes.
While with players I've been with for a long time,
you'd revel.
I usually would do that. I would give a person where I know they hate poems, I would bring them to say a poem, because I know that deep inside, even though they might hate it at that second, they still would do it and be proud of themselves in the end.
Now that's a lovely thing when you know people in that way,
Yeah.
and you can just think, oh, I know they hate doing that, but they sort of love doing it, even though they hate doing it, and I love it when they do that.
And also, again, it's like with your group, you also know what they like.
Yeah.
So when they do something like that, you reward them with something nice afterwards.
Wow, yeah. You've really got the psychology of this down. It's like, punish them, then reward them, punish them, then reward them. Yeah.
And it's the other way around too. I mean, it wouldn't be as much fun for me if they weren't like sometimes messing with me and be like, you didn't expect that, did you? And that's the wonderful thing though.
So if someone was going to reward you, they would give you scenes about the mafia or scenes set in the Wild West. What else would someone improvising with you give you as a reward? What does it you particularly like to do?
Everything physical. It's like I'm really into miming.
Oh yeah.
I'm really into using the whole stage.
Yes, no, I love that too. Yeah.
Having objects on the stage, like when you, for example, have 2 chairs and table that you can use during improvisation. Those things for me aren't 2 chairs and a table. Those things are possibilities.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so nice when you then like make a table and turn it around and suddenly it's a spaceship.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, take a chair and make it a weird hat.
For short periods of time, I think.
For short periods of time. You always have to hold it up there. It's the possibilities of physicality on stage are so huge.
Yes. So you're talking about using existing objects as either themselves or as another object.
And also using yourself.
Oh, right.
It's like, you can be an object on stage.
Yes.
You don't have to be a person. You can be an animal. The way your character carries him or herself. I, for example, am very much a person who works from the outside in. I go into body position and like take from the position the feeling of who I am.
Yes.
Which helps me personally a lot. I know other people who do it with their voices.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like physicality, but I'm also very visual. It's when I do improv, I don't see the stage, I see the setting we're in.
Wow.
Like in sometimes ridiculous details.
Brilliant.
Like when you're in the castle and you actually see like a throne there with steps going up and portraits hanging on the walls without scene painting it. That's the moment I know I'm really comfortable in that scene.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I must try and do that. That's good.
That's really, for me, it's so helpful, and it's another aspect that I really like. And then you can bring it to life through scene painting. And if your like partner then starts to do some scene painting too, that picture suddenly shifts and it becomes something different from what you as one person knows.
Yes.
To that thing of 2 people knowing stuff.
Yeah.
And bringing together stuff, and it becomes bigger. And that's the main thing about improv for me. It's the being together and bringing knowledge together.
Yes.
And not only brainy knowledge, but also emotional knowledge.
Yes.
And then build up on that. Because in every improv scene, you learn something about yourself, the other person, and your mutual understanding.
Yes. Yeah, and that's one of my favourite things, is to have that shared world that you have created together. And when you're working with somebody and you know they've just really paid attention to the things you've done, things they've done, and they've just remembered it, it just makes the whole world seem so much more real. This guy called Jerry, who I was doing the Katie Shoot musical course, and I was playing this soldier who wanted to go off and have all these adventures. And I was just basically, I'm doing it now, you can't see this on audio, but I basically...
I see it.
I just held a spear all throughout the song. And then at the end of the song, I was going to go off and have these adventures, and Jerry just came over and just took the spear out of my hand, and I just thought, oh, that was just beautiful, because it's like, you know, he'd seen it, and it just needed, it was just like, so well observed. And it was such a small thing, I don't even know how many people noticed it, but I was like, that's just made the world real for me, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean. It's when I mime an object, like out of nothingness, I actually have to put it somewhere, because otherwise it kind of sticks to my hand.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes any sense, or it falls down. And I'm really bothered by it, even if I only do it in practice. It's if you have that real object in your hand, and mostly it's cups in improv for some weird reason.
Interesting, yeah.
Like also in improv, I say it's like every person always pours themselves a cup of tea or
I think that's just
any
English.
liquid.
I think that's just English.
Yes.
I think it's just England. That's just what we do.
No, it's international.
Really? Marvellous.
Yeah, we do it in Austria too.
Well, I find that a great relief.
Yes.
Marvellous.
But still, it like, I don't know. I find it really lovely when people who just started out in improv like suddenly throw the cup away.
Okay, so we know what to do to reward you. We give you stuff that's physical, stuff that's to do with the mafia or to do with westerns. If someone were to punish you,
give me a song.
Give you a song. You were good. You're properly trained singing now.
Yeah, I've trained it, but still, it scares me so much doing musical improvisation.
Yeah.
But in a way, where thanks to the course I did now and the support of the people I did it with, I'm now at a point where it's something I'm not super excited about doing it, but I would brave one time through it and then become excited about it.
Yes.
Because, I don't know, it's like, that's the secret superpower of improv. Become excited about what you're doing.
Yes.
If you're thinking like, oh no, I cannot do something with that suggestion, or oh no, that's not what I want to do, it's the moment it loses its spark. And the moment you're like, I really have no idea what in that world exists, but I'm going into it full time.
Yes.
And I'm going to commit to that and make it magical and try to give the other person what they want.
Yes.
It then becomes a bigger thing again, and it becomes a really great scene. And it's also helpful for life, becoming excited about things you usually may not be super into.
Yes. No, I think it's
like traveling with the tube on rush hour. You can be like, oh my god, so many people to watch.
Yes, or this is what we call an adventure.
Yes, isn't it?
So, you're going to be leaving London soon.
Yes, in
Don't
a week.
Don't go.
I'll probably come back.
Hooray. So what's next for you?
Next, I'm traveling I'm first traveling for the holidays back to Austria. And then I'm off traveling to Hanoi in Vietnam.
Wow.
And I've connected with some lovely people there, and I'm going to teach an improv long form.
Wow.
Called the 7-Year Itch. Then I'm traveling down through Vietnam and Cambodia to Bangkok, where there apparently also is an improv scene.
Wow, excellent.
I'm totally excited for it, and I'm really curious also about it, because London has brought so much to my experience of improv, and it will be so exciting to see what Asia is in improv like.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm then off to Australia too.
Wow.
Where, of course, I also do improvisation. Surprise, surprise. I'm so, like, I have so many facets. And then I'm off to New York, where, oh my god, what can I do in New York? I don't know, maybe improvisation.
Wow.
Yeah, traveling down to Miami, and then I'm back in Europe for a month, and then I'm going to Rhode Island for the Ocean Improv Festival.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I made this.
That's improv!